Hey guys, today is March, someday in March. It's like the first week of March. I don't even know what the date is. So today I'm filming in a new location. I'm in this business room of my apartment complex. And I came down here for the first time in about a year, and it looks like it has been turned into a playroom of sorts. So there's now some really interesting carpet. If you guys can see here, there's some really colorful carpet. There's also some toys and some games. And then there's a huge giraffe over there in the corner, which actually looks kind of cool. Interesting space. But today what I wanted to share with you guys was a recipe for protein chocolate chip peanut butter oatmeal cookies. So there's just a whole lot of stuff in there. And they came out really good. I just finished baking them, so I'm going to show you guys a recipe video for that. And then I've just been putting this off lately, but one thing that I really want to talk about is how to actually start tracking your macros and how do you really figure them out yourself. So I've had a few people come up to me at work and actually ask how to do this, and I think it is a little bit confusing because there's so much information out there. It can be kind of overwhelming. So my goal of this video is to just break it down really simply for you guys. So there's a few steps to this process that we're going to talk about today. The first thing we're going to do is figure out your BMR, or your basal metabolic rate. Then you're going to have to figure out your activity level. You're going to have to figure out your goal. So do you want to maintain, lose weight, or gain weight? And then after that, we're actually going to allocate your calories in terms of the different macronutrients. So if it sounds like it's really complicated, I promise that it's not. So step one is to determine your BMR, or your basal metabolic rate. So essentially, if you were just lying down in a coma and you weren't moving around at all, this is the amount of calories that you would need to eat every day as your baseline just to stay alive. So there's a few calculators out there that can help you guys figure this out and make it super easy. There is a formula you can do by hand, but you need to use kilograms and centimeters. So rather than going through all of that, I'm just gonna give you guys a link down below to the BMR calculator. So just to make it simple, I actually went through and I did this for myself, and my BMR is 1,320 calories. So that would be the baseline that I need to eat every day just to stay alive. All right, so once we've got that figured out, we're going to move to step two, which is to determine your level of activity. So I'm going to link a few resources down below in the description that can help you kind of figure out where you're at. But just to give you guys an idea of what this looks like, say you're very sedentary, you would multiply your BMR by something like 1.2. So that's pretty conservative. For the purposes of this, I'm just gonna pretend that I'm moderately active. So I'm gonna multiply my BMR times 1.55. So the total number of calories I would need to eat to maintain my weight is 2,046. So just by eating that, that should be my maintenance, or my TDEE, which stands for total daily energy expenditure. So now we can move on to step three, which is the most exciting part. So that's actually calculating your goal. So do you want to maintain, do you want to lose weight, or do you want to gain weight? Now, if you want to maintain weight, you just eat this number. If you want to lose weight, you might want to be in a 15 to 20% deficit. And if you want to gain weight, you might want to start by increasing by about a 10% surplus. So obviously the goal with being in a deficit is that you don't want to deprive yourself too much. So don't subtract more than 25% of your calories from the get-go, or else you're probably going to be really hungry and really unhappy. And same goes with bulking. If you want to gain lean muscle mass, don't put yourself in a 30% surplus, because a lot of the weight that you're going to gain is going to be fat versus lean muscle. So just start off kind of conservative. All right, so on to step four. So now that we have figured out our BMR, our activity level, and our TDEE, what we need to do is actually allocate our calories for protein, fat, and carb. So in my case, I can eat 2,046 calories a day to maintain my weight, but let's say I want to go into a moderate deficit, lose a little bit of fat. So I'm going to start cutting at 15%. So I subtract 15% out of those calories, and I'm left with 1,740 calories for the day. So the first macronutrient that we want to allocate is protein. And protein is the most important to hit every single day, no matter what. So protein can range anywhere from 0.6 to 1 times your body weight. So in this case, if I'm 130 pounds and I multiply my protein by 1, that means I'm eating 130 grams of protein per day. Now, if you're someone that's cutting or trying to lose weight, I definitely recommend keeping your protein on the higher side, somewhere between 0.85, and 1, just so you can maintain a lot of your lean muscle mass. Whereas if you're someone who's starting off really overweight, you could actually put your protein a bit on the lower side, around 0.6 or 0.7, and be totally fine. And if you're at maintenance, you can put your protein around 0.8 and really have no issue. So I've determined that I want to keep my protein high because I'm going to be trying to lose weight. So 130 pounds is my starting weight, times 1 equals 130 grams of protein. And we know that protein is 4 calories per gram. So we're gonna multiply 130 times 4, which gives us 520 calories. So 520 calories are coming from protein. So my camera just decided to die, so decided to move around a little bit in the room. I'm currently sitting with this giraffe right here in the corner. So our next macronutrient that we wanna allocate is fat. So this can range anywhere from 0.3 to 0.4 times your body weight. So this is where you have to kind of take your personal preference into account. So for me, I want to put it a little bit on the higher end. So I'm going to do 0.4 times my body weight. So 130 times 0.4, and that's going to give me 52 grams of fat per day. So fat is 9 calories per gram. So I'm going to multiply 52 by 9, and that's how many calories are coming from fat per day. So now I want to take my protein and my fat calories and add them together. So I have 520 calories coming from protein, I have 468 calories coming from fat. I'm just looking at my notes here. So that equals 1,058 calories. Now, if you remember, I'm going to go back to my cutting calories, which is 1,740. And from that, I'm going to subtract the fat and protein calories and see what's left over. All right, so I figured out that I have 682 calories left, and we want to allocate these calories to carbohydrates. So carbohydrates are 4 calories per gram. 682 divided by 4 is 170. All right, so now we have our macros for the day. So I'm going to be eating 130 grams of protein, 52 grams of fat, and 170 grams of carbs. So that is basically how you figure out your macros. So definitely go through and try to calculate your macros by yourself. I also have a really great tool that I like, which is called Katie Hearn's macro calculator. And I've used this and compared my own macros to the output from her calculator, and usually it's pretty similar. I mean, obviously fat and carbs might be a little bit off because of preference, but I would totally suggest that you go through once, just try to do it yourself, and then also plug your numbers into her calculator and just kind of see how close you are. And that should give you a little bit more confidence in your numbers. But if you guys get stuck or have any questions, just feel free to drop a comment below. So I hope you guys enjoyed our little macro chat today. And now I'm going to show you this recipe for chocolate chip peanut butter oatmeal protein cookies. So let's head over to the kitchen. All right, so before we make the oatmeal peanut butter cookies, I just wanted to quickly show you guys the ingredients that we'll be using today. And I will link all of this down below in the description. So I have some cinnamon and nutmeg, a little bit of baking soda, vanilla extract, salt, Walden Farms 0-calorie pancake syrup. You can use sugar-free or whatever you happen to have on hand. Then I have some creamy peanut butter, a little bit of Quest vanilla protein. Honestly, I'm just trying to use this guy up, but you can use vanilla or even unflavored protein is perfectly fine. Then I have some Quaker oats right here, a little bit of egg whites, Truvia brown sugar and regular sugar baking blend. You don't have to use Truvia though, you could just use whatever you have in your cabinets. And last but not least, a little bit of Nestle mini chocolate chips. Alright, so before we take our cookie dough and actually put it on the cookie sheet, one of the tricks that I have is to use one of these Silpats. It's basically just a non-stick mat that you put right over your cookie sheet. And the good thing about this is that it helps your cookies bake up really evenly. And it's also extremely non-stick. So essentially when the cookies come out, they come right off the sheet and you never need to wash it. All you have to do is wipe it down with a damp towel and you'll be good to go. So this particular one I actually bought on Amazon, and I believe 2 of them came in a pack for around $20 or $25. So I will link these down below in the description. If you do want the original Silpat, which is made by a French company, it is a little bit more expensive. So as you guys can see, here are the cookies on the cookie sheet. I was able to get 7 out of this batch. So now I'm going to put these in a 350-degree oven for 8 to 10 minutes. So here's a quick baking hack for you guys. If you have brown sugar and you want to keep it soft in your cabinet, what you can actually do is throw a slice of bread in there. As you can see, I just threw in a whole slice, and this is going to keep the brown sugar soft. Now, if you accidentally take it out of your cabinet and you notice that it's rock hard, what you can actually do is zap it in the microwave for a minute or 2, but just keep an eye on it to make sure that you don't melt it. So this is what the cookies look like once they come out of the oven. I ended up baking them for a total of 10 minutes, and I think they're pretty much done, but I'm going to let them cool on this rack for about 5 to 10 minutes. So as I mentioned earlier, with this nonstick cooking sheet, you don't need to spray it. And just to prove it to you guys, they come right off like this, and they're all baked perfectly on the bottom. So I didn't even spray this at all, and they just come right off the sheet very easily, just like this. And then once you're done, you can just go and wipe the sheet down. So here is the final product. As you can see, they did bake up nicely when they were in there for 10 minutes. They do have a pretty firm texture, just like a normal cookie. So now we're gonna go ahead and give them a try. So just to show you guys, I took a bite of this cookie just to test it out, and it is definitely really good. It bakes up just like a normal oatmeal cookie. Very firm on the bottom, but still chewy on the inside. And it also has a really nice texture from the oatmeal, and it does not get hard or gummy, even though it has protein in it. I would also say that the cinnamon and the nutmeg adds just a little bit of spice to it, which I think is really good in an oatmeal cookie. So overall, definitely very good. So I'm gonna go finish this. So hopefully you guys liked today's video, and if you did, just make sure to give it a thumbs up. You can also follow me on my Instagram, which I will link right here, and I will catch you guys in the next one.